You're listening to the Almighty Network. Hello, this is Joselia. And on the phone lines, I have with me Senator Elizabeth Warren. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, Joselia. How are you today?
I am fabulous. It's such an honor to have you with us on this afternoon. This is the Almighty Network, and we're a region of Christian believers. And we're just delighted that you've taken the time to come and share with us on today on some of your platforms.
Good, good. And I'm delighted to have this chance to do it. I appreciate your inviting me.
Thank you. Thank you. Number one, our area, our regions, in the past couple of months or so, we've been rallying and coming together as a community to talk about our children and gang situations because we've had several deaths that have taken place when it comes to gangs and gun violence. So if you could talk to us this afternoon in reference to where you stand on that in your platform and once and if you become president, how would you handle that situation for our communities?
So I appreciate your raising this issue. We have a gun violence problem in America, and mass shootings are obviously a serious problem. They get a lot of headlines, but it's also about children and young people who are killed on our sidewalks and playgrounds, and how this often affects communities of color disproportionately, even if it doesn't get the headlines. It's also about the increased deaths from suicide and from domestic violence.
Yes.
So I see gun violence as a problem of public health, something where we need to make real change at the federal level. And the question we should be asking ourselves is how can it be that when more than 90% of the folks across this country, and that includes gun owners, believe that we need just some sensible changes like background checks and getting weapons of war off our streets and keeping guns out of the hands of gang members, when that is pretty much agreed to by everyone, we can't even get a vote in a Republican-controlled Senate. And for me, that's just one more sign of corruption in Washington, of the gun industry and the NRA calling the shots. So as president, there are two things I really want to do. I want to push back on the corruption. I want to push back on the influence of money in Washington, and I've got a big anti-corruption plan for that.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I want to do is I want to have a Justice Department that is a good partner to local communities like those right here in South Carolina who need a Justice Department that will be on the side of communities that are trying to help themselves protect their children, that will be on the side of enforcing our civil rights laws, that will be on the side of holding police accountable when there are problems. I want a Justice Department that is on the side of the people and an Attorney General who stands for that. So that's the heart of it for me. We have a moral obligation to protect our children, to protect our young people.
That's right.
And right now we're failing in that obligation. So as president, I want us to do a whole lot better.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. Now, as we talk about our children, let's talk about education because they are a vital part of the issues of education, especially here in South Carolina. You know, our teachers have marched on the State House previously, and so we've got issues here that need attention. So let's talk about education, Senator Warren, and where you stand on that issue.
Sure. So for me, education is the whole heart of it. You know, I was a public school teacher.
Oh, wow.
I taught, I was a special education teacher.
Oh, my
I had
goodness.
4 to 6-year-olds, little ones, many of whom couldn't yet communicate.
Right.
And I believe in investing in all of our children. So one of my central plans is a 2-cent wealth tax on the richest 0.1% in America. These are folks with fortunes above $50 million. And what that 2 cents will let us do is it would let us provide early childhood education and child care for every single baby in this country aged 0 to 5. It would let us provide universal pre-K for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old in America. It would let us stop exploiting the people who do this work, who are often African American women or Latinas, and raise the wages of every child care worker and preschool teacher in America. 2 cents, we could do all of that for our babies, plus we could put $800 billion new federal dollars into our public schools. I just want you to think about what that would mean for a lot of folks in South Carolina, particularly who are living in areas where the schools are so badly underfunded. My plan would let us quadruple the funding for Title I schools, schools that are serving low-income children. And this won't surprise you from a special education teacher. It fully funds IDEA, which means children with disabilities will get the full educational opportunities that they deserve. This is about, for me, is it more important to invest in billionaires or is it more important to invest in our children? And here's the best part. Not only do Democrats think that 2-cent wealth tax is a good idea, even Republicans, a majority of Republicans support it because they understand that the rich folks, they've been doing great, but everyone else is getting the short end of the stick. And asking those at the top to put in just 2 cents means that we could fully fund an investment in every one of our children. I believe that's how we build a future.
Well, I tell you, it's really interesting and enlightening to know that you are a special education teacher because that's one of my platforms as well. Our church, we support our special education babies and we have a day for them. And another issue that has taken place, it's not happening right now in our school district, but I know it happens in some other school districts when it comes to the behavioral health counselors. Could you talk about what kind of support can you give to behavioral health in our schools?
So it's a great question. You know, we now have millions of schools that have an armed guard at school, but no one there for behavioral health, no school nurse, no school counselor.
Right.
Boy, that can't be the kind of way we build a future for our children. So what my plan has is $1 million grant to every single public school for that public school to use on the resources they most need. And for many, that very well may be behavioral health. Of course, quadrupling the funding for all of the Title I schools means for those schools there's going to be plenty of money to be able to add in more support on behavioral health. I just think it's absolutely crucial. And, you know, I should also add, because the 2 cents is about our babies, it's about K-12, but it also has one more part to it, and that is for people trying to get an education post-high school, which includes our future teachers. What the 2 cents lets us do is technical college, 2-year college, 4-year college, tuition-free, and it lets us invest $50 billion in our historically black colleges and universities, which, as you probably know, disproportionately turns out a lot of our public school teachers. And the final thing this plan does is let us cancel student loan debt for 43 million Americans. That means that teachers who are sometimes working 2 and 3 jobs to try to pay their student loan debt will see those student loans canceled. That encourages more people to come into teaching, to stay in teaching, and to answer that call that's in their heart to work with our children. I know that call, and I want to make it financially possible for them to be able to do that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Senator Warren, again, for sharing with us and for this discussion. It's been our pleasure, and I know that our listeners are delighted to hear from you as well.
Well, thank you so much. It is such an honor to be on your program. And I just feel like this is a moment in our country where we have a chance not just to be a country that works for those at the top, but a country that works for all of our children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guided by Matthew 25 in this. I believe that we need to be a country that lives by our best values.
Mm. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Amen. Thank you so much, Senator
Amen.
Warren, and God bless you
All
on
right.
your journey.
All right. Keep me in your prayers.
We will. We will. Almighty Network, Almighty 105.1 Florence, Almighty 98.3 Sumter, and Almighty 94.5 Orangeburg. Good day.